Hello everyone, welcome back to High Caliber Haymaker. Today we're reviewing the Smith & Wesson 5.7, chambered in 5.7 by 28. And today we're shooting Federal 40 grain full metal jackets. So let's get into it. Alright, so today we're doing our first shots with the new Smith & Wesson 5.7. I've yet to fire this yet. Comes with two 22 round magazines. Like I said, we're going to be shooting the Federal 40 grain. So we've got the Holosun red dot on here as well. We need to sight that in, so we'll see where we hit on the target here. But this is a gas operated pistol with a rotating barrel. It's a really cool system, so I'm really excited to see, how the recoil and everything works in this. So let's go ahead and take our first shot just to get our initial reaction and just see where we're hitting on the target. Let's go check it out. Alright, so first things first, there is almost no recoil with this, and that is very impressive. I went with no safety, or thumb safety this time, so bear with me if I'm holding it away from myself just to make sure that we're extra safe out here at the range today. Our first hit, I've literally eyed it at home just to kind of see if I could get it straight on, and we hit right below our X here. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but we hit right there. So we are going to make a couple slight adjustments, and then I think we can really get into this today. Okay, so we've made our adjustments. It didn't take long at all. It took only about 6 shots, so I think we'll be pretty good for the rest of the video. So what I'm using on the 507K today is the circle and the dot, just to try something different. Like I said, I'm going to keep bringing a variety of different optics and firearms to you. Again, with the recoil, it's little to none. I think it has to do with how the gas port is further up on the barrel, so it has that slight bit of delay. So even if you're an avid shooter, you kind of anticipate some recoil. So by the time your anticipation goes through, it's already reached that gas port, and it just stays on target. So let's just go ahead and finish off this magazine. Make sure we have no kind of malfunctions or jamming issues of any kind, and then we'll probably go into an accuracy test. So let's go ahead and just finish off this magazine. Oh, and we also changed off the target here so you can see where it hits as well. Okay, so clearly we had no malfunctions. Kind of a little all over the place. I'm not really trying to control my breath or anything, just trying to run through the motions here. But as you can see, everything is in the target, and we'll go up and take a quick look at that, and then we'll slow everything down for a little bit more accuracy. Alright, so I just kind of wanted to bring you guys closer for just a second so you can see kind of where we're hitting on the target. Like I said, I wasn't really trying to control my breath or anything, just trying to run through the motions of, malfunctions, jamming issues, anything like that, but clearly there was none. So that's always a positive, especially with something right out of the box. Everything hit within the circle here. We didn't hit any of the paper, so obviously we're dialed in pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this target right here, and then we'll go back. That was probably about 5 or 6 yards out, so we're going to back it up about 7 to 10, see if we can get some accuracy going. Alright, so we're reloaded. We backed it up to about 7 to 10 yards, so let's see how well the accuracy is for 2 different reasons. 1 for the firearm and 2 for the optic. So I'll take about 5 shots and then we'll go check out our grouping. Alright, so here's our 5 shots. Looks like I pulled on 2 of them. These are definitely within the size of like a quarter right here, but as far as accuracy goes, I'm going to call that a win. Of course, if I took a little more time, I could probably dial it in just where it's in this little circle here. 5.7 on its own, fairly accurate. Out of the Smith & Wesson 5.7, I think they mesh together pretty well. So now we're going to go ahead and fully load both magazines, and we'll just go through some more standard function shots and see the results. Alright guys, so clearly the firearm operates and works perfectly straight out of the box. That's always a good sign, but I mean, you know, Smith & Wesson, that's to be expected. So the Holosun 507K red dot also did well today. You know, we put probably at this point about 60 rounds through the firearm, had no malfunctions, and also didn't lose the red dot at any point, so kudos for that. Just something I kind of want to show you guys real quick before we go back to the house and do the full breakdown of the firearm, is just how to load these magazines. So you can get about 6 or 7 in, no problem, but the loader that comes with the firearm will definitely save your fingers. So how it operates is you drop this on top of the mag here, drop your round in, and then just click it. Trust me, it'll save your time and your fingers. So the Federal 40 grain ammo also did very well today, no problems with that. So let's go ahead and go back to the house, do the breakdown, clean the firearm, all that good stuff, and then we'll cut back over here for our final test, which will be a mag dump to see if it can handle that faster fire rate. Alright guys, hopefully you're enjoying the video so far. Here's where we get into the breakdown of how this pistol operates, and of course how to clean it and put it all back together. So let's go ahead and start getting into that. So first thing we're going to do is remove our thread cover here. Of course it's 1/2 by 28 threads. And then we're going to flip it over and I'm going to show you where you need to line things up. So there's a little cut in the slide here, that one right there, and you need to align it with your slide stop pin, which is right there. And on the other side, this is where you're going to press your pin. So you can either use a punch, or like I do, I just use these little hex tools that I have to mount optics. So pretty easy to pull on the slide here. What I do is I fully rack it. It just makes it easier as far as like having tension. So see how much easier it is to move the slide there? So it's going to be easier to hold as well. So we're all lined up, get a good grip on it, come to the other side, press your pin, and as you can see, it pretty much falls right out. So now, the way that this is designed, you need to slide all the way back from the rear as well as when you put it together. So I just take my thumb, give it a little push, and as you can see, it slides off the frame. Of course, put your thumb against your spring, as it may have a little bit of tension on it. So now we're going to remove our recoil spring and guide rod, and then we should be able to move our barrel up and pull that right on out. So this is where it gets very interesting. So as you can see, like I told you in the video, the barrel is rotating, so you see how it moves. Just like that, it slides back and forth. So you can't do this obviously while it's in the firearm, but you can rotate it further, and that's what allows you to pull it out. And as you can see, we have our gas ports here, our gas port in our chambers. And that right there is the key to the ingredients of making this thing operate the way that it does. And I mean, so this right here is realistically just your sleeve for it. So as you can imagine, the only thing I would think that would be kind of a negative for this pistol, and I mean the only thing, is with it having a gas port in here, obviously a lot of your powder and things like that are going to build up right here. But we obviously have had no malfunctions at the range so far, so obviously things are going good. But as far as that goes, that's how your field strip is. And let's just look at the inside of the frame here. Beautiful, hammer fired, gas operated, locked breech tempo barrel system. I mean, that is just awesome. So like I said, it was fresh out of the box when we shot at the range today, and of course, you know, I'm guessing this is all residue from that. So let's go ahead and get this thing cleaned up, and then we'll go over a couple more specs and put it back together. All clean. Alright, so typically I would just dive right back in and throw all this back together, but there are a few areas that I think we need to focus on where I saw a little bit more than normal buildup. But like I said, things are expected to be a little bit different with this being a gas operated system. So where the barrel goes into the sleeve, and this is where it slides back and forth or the rotation happens, I did see quite a bit of buildup here. And also, I'm sure you noticed when I took it apart, it was pretty heavily oiled. I'm sure that's from the factory, from when they did the test firing on it. So I did take a little bit of oil. I used Vulcan here, and I put that on the chambers here, just on the edges, because you want to make sure that you have no resistance or grit, of course, inside your sleeve, because that's going to definitely go against your performance of the pistol. Another thing in the slide itself, there's this little area right up here. Hopefully you can see that.
there was quite a bit of buildup there as well. So just two little spots to focus on. But as far as the frame, I didn't have to do anything in here, which was very surprising. But at the same time, I guess it shouldn't have been, because everything is happening in here. So that's kind of a positive. Like I did not have to do anything to this. So let's go ahead and start our reassembly. And then, of course, we will focus on a few key parts of the firearm as well and some specs. So drop in your barrel, make sure your sleeve is seated all the way down. We're going to pick up our slide, drop our barrel in, like so. And then, of course, make sure it seats all the way back before you insert your recoil spring so you don't have any extra tension. Drop your recoil spring in, and it locks right into that little slot right there. So, like I said in the beginning, you need to start from the rear of the slide. Start your frame rails, get everything lined up. There's a little cutouts for everything going along the way there. And then give it a little push, and you should be able to just rack it. Not as smooth as I wanted it to be, so we're going to do that one more time. So, again, push from the rear like you're taking it apart. Go on our slide. Make sure we're lined up here, nice and smooth. Rack it all the way back. Good to go. All right, so now we're going to pull back and line up that notch that we did earlier and take our slide stop, drop that in. Make sure we're lined up. And that should not be able to be pressed forward anymore. So let's do a quick functions check before we put our thread protector on, and we are good to go. So now we can reattach our thread protector, and we will be fully reassembled. And there you go. So the takedown is not too difficult. Like I said, just focus on those few spots there where you might see a little extra buildup. Oh, for those of you who are asking, so you saw my Vulcan oil there. I also use their carbon killer. You literally just spray this on, let it soak for a few minutes, take a rag or a toothbrush, depending on what parts you're cleaning, and I mean, it just comes right off. So, now, let's get into a little bit more of the specs of this firearm. 5-inch barrel. Overall length of the pistol is 8.5 inches, the width is 1.1 inches, and the height is 5 1/4. You can get this with a manual thumb safety if you like. I just wanted to go with something a little bit different, so I opted out of it this time, as it does have a trigger safety. Like I said before, it has the internal hammer-fired, gas-operated, locked breech tempo barrel system. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. Slip, textured grip, feels really good at the range. I mean, with it having to be a thicker grip, it's slimmer, so it still fits your hand very comfortably. So, kudos on them for that. Ambidextrous slide stop, reversal magazine release, slide cuts for optics, flat face trigger, so you have, you know, consistent, repeated firing. And let's actually go ahead, while we have it right here and unloaded, I'm going to go ahead and show you the trigger operation here. And as you can see, it does have a trigger stop right there, so you don't have any excess travel. So we'll pull it. Very crisp, audible break. Reset. Very short. So when we get to the clip here in a second of the mag dump, it should be very quick with how easy it is to reset that. So Picatinny style rail, forward slide serrations, and a 1-in-9 twist barrel, and two 22 round magazines. So definitely a high quality firearm. Not too bad as far as taking it apart and cleaning it, and I'm very happy with it so far. So, don't tell my wife. Once again, we stole her Pampered Chef food scale from the kitchen. Let's go ahead and switch it to pounds, and let's get a weight on the M&P 5.7. 1 pound, 5.1 ounces, and that's with the Holosun Optic on it. I'm sure it would be a little bit lighter, as it did have a plastic slide cut protector here, but again, not really a big deal. So I'm going to actually grab a full magazine because I want to see what the weight is with it fully loaded. So give me 1 second, I'll grab that. Okay, so I've got our fully loaded 22 round magazine. As you can see, the brass right there through the 22. I'm not going to insert it just because I'm in my house and I just don't feel like we need to, as I can just add this straight to the scale and we can get an accurate weight. So let's go ahead and do that. So with a fully loaded magazine, you're at 2 pounds 5 ounces. Still not very heavy at all, considering you're carrying a capacity of 22 rounds, which is also phenomenal. I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. I would not rule this out as a self-defense weapon. It's very accurate. You get high capacity with it being slim. It is kind of long, but it is slim, so it would be good for conceal. But I would probably lean more to the open carry side for this.
All right, guys, now that we're back at the range, we're going to go ahead and do our mag dump here. Hopefully you enjoyed, going through the pistol and taking it apart, cleaning it, all that good stuff. So I only loaded up 20 rounds in the magazine. The reason I did that is because 5.7 is still fairly expensive. And with there being a limited number of 5.7 firearms out there, as you can understand why it would be pricey. But, of course, we encourage more and more firearm companies out there to keep making things like this to help also bring the price down. So let's go ahead and do our mag dump as our final test and see if it can handle that faster fire. And that, ladies and gentlemen, had no problem. So 5-star review for sure from High Caliber Haymaker on the Smith & Wesson 5.7. So don't go anywhere. We got a few closing remarks from you, and as well as our affiliate sponsor. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video on the Smith & Wesson 5.7. Absolutely phenomenal firearm. But before we end the video, I just want to give a huge shout out to our affiliate at Webb Western. It's a 3rd generation rancher. Great guy, he runs a great company. And I mean, I know I've told you their slogan in probably every video that you've seen recently, but no BS, no excuses, just honest hard work. And of course the arrow in their logo represents always be a straight shooter. That's just a company I'm very happy to be a part of. So go ahead and click that link down in the description below, and that'll take you to their website, and use code HCH10 for 10% off your order. They've got a lot of new great stuff out. They got a lot of hats and new accessories on their website, so please go check them out. And do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're getting a lot of views on the channel, but not nearly as many subscribers. It helps me to continue to do what I'm doing and bring you content and new firearms. And stay safe, get out to the range and knock out some rounds, and I will see you next time.